Um, all right, so for whatever reason, I'm here but not here. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. Andrew will not be here. I don't know about Ian, but we have a quorum, so I guess we are able to proceed. I will open this meeting of the Ashburnham Conservation Commission for the state, February 28th, in accordance with the Mass Wetland Protection Act, its regulations, and the Ashburnham Wetlands Protection Bylaw. All right, first on the agenda is 471 Winchendon Road, which is something we had already addressed, and it did not have a file number at our previous hearings. It now does have a file number, so we're able to close the hearing and then move to decide upon it. So I don't think there were any objections during the previous sessions. So I think it's kind of a pro forma thing that, I'll make a motion to approve or first to close the public hearing for 471 Winchendon Road.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Mark Williams, aye.
Kristen Godfrey, aye.
Chris Bocconi, aye.
And then I will make a motion to issue the order of conditions per plan in discussion.
Just a quick, no, Catherine was saying something, but her mic was off. So did you need to?
Oh, actually, I was going to say that I don't think I can vote because I wasn't involved when this was first discussed. I wasn't on the commission at that point.
Okay, good enough. In that case, well, 1, 2, 3. Well, who are we missing besides Andrew
And
and
that's it.
no? There are 6 of us, aren't there?
Yeah.
So Andrew, Ann, 1, 2, 3. All right. I'm going to assume that since Catherine essentially abstains because she wasn't party to the previous proceedings, that
Then it would be 3 out of 5. So we have a quorum.
exactly my point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So the motion to approve the project per plan and discussion and issue the permit is, I think is valid. And so if I forget, was there a second for that?
Yeah, I had seconded.
Okay, all right, then all in favor again, Marshall Dennis, aye.
Kristen Godfrey, aye.
Chris Bocconi, aye.
All right, so I think that's all we need. Paul, I'll try to get that. I'm headed south in the next couple of days, but I will try to get that to you by tomorrow.
Great. Thank you all very much.
Okay, not a problem. Just as an aside, You're aware of a meeting with DEP?
I saw your email requesting a change on the site walk date. I didn't know if you got a response back on that
did.
or,
I did. She's adamant that it's going to be on March 9th at 2:30 in the afternoon.
oh, okay.
Apparently at the site.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't be there, but I believe Chris, will be. God willing.
Yeah.
Again, it's my understanding, having been through a few of these, that it's just a fact-finding mission from DEP. And we'll just have to wait and see how it goes from there. Okay, anyway,
All right. Very good. Thank you.
okay, just want to make sure. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. Have a good trip.
Yep, you too. Thanks. Bye. All right. That takes care of 471. Winchendon, up next on the agenda is Mr. Al Maynard, who is here with us on the continued notice of intent for 38 Lower Lake Road for a dock and bank stabilization activities. I will note that since the last meeting, Al has submitted some additional materials, which I trust everybody has received copies of. And as of an hour ago, anyway, I will note that DEP has not yet issued a file number. So once again, we can't close the hearing, but we can certainly review and or discuss Al's latest submission.
And we don't have to, it's just basically updating with, we can, there's like 3 or 4 more images I added. Just, I took some more images, cleaned my case the other day before the snow came. And then I added the other design that I think Andrew mentioned about,
Right.
Pulling the coir logs out a little further and letting some sediment and some growth behind it. So that was about it.
Yeah, I can't make excuses for DEP.
Yeah,
but,
no problem. I fully understand, and I think they have 45 days to respond to something like that, so.
in this day and age, who knows? You're lucky to get what you get. If you were to, in my opinion, harass them, it would probably take that much longer. So probably not a good idea.
All right.
So
Okay, we'll just wait it out and see what happens.
I'm afraid that's what we're going to have to do, which places us, the next meeting of the commission is, correct me please, but I think it's March 14th, the second Monday of
Yeah.
March. So given that we've just dispatched 471 Winchendon Road, you would be on the agenda for 6:35.
Okay,
I was just at town hall today. There were no other formal applications other than some DNIs. So 6:35 on the 14th would be, and hopefully we'll have a file number by then.
sounds good.
I will state though, for the record, I will not be here on the 14th. I will be here for the next, on the 28th, but the 14th I'm out of town. So
All right.
be that as it may. Any other comment, discussion Or we'll just, let's see what happens and we'll deal with it, or you folks will deal with it on March 14th.
Yeah, I thought the supplemental materials sent looked good. They're helpful, a little more,
Okay.
a little more detailed, so.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah, I'm trying to give you guys as much detail besides going out there and take a look at it, take a look at it yourselves, but
Yeah.
trying to give as many pictures as I could, and I was out there the last week and around, so it's a little bit some better images I took just to share. So
All right, let me address one other thing based on email you sent to me, Al. You have applied for a building permit for the house
that's correct.
above and beyond the application you previously filed for foundation, piers, etc.
Right.
But yet you have not filed an application with the commission for the house.
Okay, so I talked to Heather on that, and she said I did not have to. When I filed that on the beginning of the month, and prior to doing that, she basically, her definition to me was, I'm not touching any of the dirt. The dirt was already approved on the permit to get the foundation in, and she didn't see any need for any other applications besides what I had applied for, which was just a basic building permit.
I will ask the other members, how do you feel about that? I mean, the fact is that he has a permit to do the foundation work and the pier / porch work. But he doesn't have a permit to build a house.
So I was trying to get, try and get the foundation in before winter, and my house plans were not complete at the time. So I broke it up as opposed to just going for one single permit for a house and foundation at the same time. And I went through, getting the approvals for the foundation, which you folks were involved with. And I think I did I forget what it was DNI, I think it was. Is that what it was? That I approved, that you folks approved. So
Yeah.
Heather just thought because it was just a continuation on what was done there. And like I said, no, all the, the foundation did not go in before the winter. It's going to go in the springtime,
Well,
in April. So
there were certain conditions such as erosion controls that
yes,
had
there
to
was.
do- that had to do with the foundation construction and other activities.
Right.
But they don't have to do with the house. So I'm wondering how other members feel on whether or not an application needs to be filed for the house, because, someone could say, well, do you have a permit to build a house? No. Do you have a permit to put in the foundation? Yeah. But you don't have a permit for the house.
Well,
That is somewhat, well, at least to me, bothersome. I don't know.
well,
how you-
that's what I'm going for is a house permit, right? The building permit for the house is what I submitted to Heather.
So if I understand correctly, there is a permit for any of the work that's going to be done affecting the ground, digging up the
That's-
foundation. So that has been through us. So I like, it seems to me similar to when people have sometimes renovated a second floor or something, and they're within 100 feet of wetland, but if they're not touching the ground floor, they haven't come to us in those situations, I thought. So as long as we're permitted, our jurisdiction is anything that's going to dig up the ground, and it sounds like that's covered here, isn't it? Or am I misunderstanding?
No, that was covered back in November. Again, I went through, I made some updates on where the silt fencing and the straw water would be. We had discussion about where the dirt pile would be. I think, you even brought up, Chris, about, there was a little, you questioned about whether it would run off the driveway, and there's a little berm in that area. So everything was gonna be, covered there. And I actually identified on my plans that you folks approved, where that pile would reside, until it got either backfilled or removed, from the property.
Marshall, is the concern that the permit for the foundation is all set, but then maybe it wouldn't get approved for the house? Is that,
No, it's more that it's more theoretical than anything. It's like, okay, you put in the foundation, you met the conditions, you pull all the erosion controls, now you're going to build a house. Don't you think that if an application had come forth, that we would have had the erosion controls still in place for the house? So, it's,
Well, could we just not sign off on the order of conditions for the foundation work until the house is done, because it's not stabilized? We know a house is coming, so we can just sort of.
Al, you can correct me here. Wasn't the foundation an request for determination? It wasn't a notice of intent, was it?
No, it wasn't.
So,
I don't think it was. No, no, it may have been. I know when I had the trees done, was that maybe a?
no, the tree stuff was definitely not.
Okay, so, yeah. Yes, it must have been a determination I had done for the foundation.
So, my main concern obviously is that the erosion controls remain in place through the construction of the house. Legally.
Okay. So is that something you can note on the building permit?
No. It's we can't tack on conditions. I'm going to have to go back and look at the permits that were issued for the foundation, and see if there's some way that we can hang our hat on that to continue through the house construction. I mean, it's just a matter, I know all the earthwork is done, but it's just a matter of debris and other construction matter getting on the other side of the erosion controls to the lake. I realize it's not a big deal, but nonetheless, if this had been an application in toto as opposed to piecemeal, we would have had all the foundation work in the house as a consolidated permit and set of conditions, and the erosion controls would not have been allowed to be removed until everything was completed. But because it's been kind of a piecemeal approach, I just want to make sure that the erosion controls are in place throughout the project legally.
All right.
So anyway, I just raised that, if we think that we don't need to go other than, understanding between permittee and the commission, then, I guess we can deal with it that way. But any thoughts from anybody? All right, let me just take a look at the permits, and I'll distribute some emails around. You can talk about it at the next meeting.
Well, I guess I'm getting to a point where if for some reason next meeting, I gotta do some additional
Yeah, I understand.
work, I'm gonna be delaying starting my bill then at this point.
I know, and I don't want to do that. I'm just all I'm doing is raising the question and thinking that, is there some way we can get around this?
Okay.
And quite honestly, this is one reason why I hate to have applications piecemeal to death like this one has been. Anyway.
So just so I have a timeline line of sight, so basically my permit won't get signed at least until the 14th?
You're talking about signing the building permit?
Yes.
It is, I guess, as long as we can have some common understanding that the erosion controls will remain in place, and
Yeah.
for what it's worth, I can add it on to the building permit. I'm not sure how legal that is, but that
I got it.
they
I
remain.
mean, that's my intention. I mean, I'm the homeowner. I'm the one that's going to be, the general contractor on it. So, one-stop shopping here. I'm going to put all the effort in to put the fencing in and straw wattle, and I'm not going to tear it up 2 weeks later.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
going to wait till the banks are established, and you folks don't have to take a look at it, or I'm going to leave it out there until the house is framed up and all the equipment moving around on the grounds are gone.
Is there anything else that you know of that Sarah is looking for at this point?
Nope. As of like 10 days ago, she was ready to, conservation was the last signature she was waiting for.
All right.
I did add it to the minutes that Al stated his intention to keep the erosion controls in place until construction is complete. That's not legally binding, but it's something written down that says they're going to stay there.
Yeah, no, it's certainly better than nothing. And I was downtown today. I did speak with Sarah, not about this, but I can go down tomorrow in light of this conversation. And again, I don't know what her schedule is to sign off and actually issue, but I can go down and sign it.
Yeah, because she was saying once, Heather was saying once conservation approves it, I just have to go down there with my $1,500 check, and then she'll give me the building permit. So.
Okay. All right. Why don't we leave it at that? The minutes will carry the day, so to speak.
Yeah, and if there's some place on the building permit where you can, put comment on it, that's possible too, I think.
All right. All right. So given all that, again, we'll have to wait till next meeting to deal with the dock and shoreline stabilizations. I won't be here, but again, have a great meeting.
All right, thanks. All right, folks, take care.
All right, Val, thank you very much.
All right, see ya.
Yep, take care. Okay. I don't have the agenda in front of me, but there was some, I know there were a couple of issues. One more minutes from,
February 14th.
any questions, comments, concerns? All right, then I'll make a motion to approve said minutes.
Second,
All those in favor? Aye, Marshall Dennis, aye.
Kristen Godfrey, aye.
Chris Paconi, aye.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Catherine, I think can vote on this one.
Catherine Laramie, aye.
Awesome.
Your first vote.
Yeah, Catherine, can I ask one thing?
Sure.
Can you send me a copy of your signature? You know, just write your signature on something, scan it and send it to me
I can do that.
so that, you know, in these Zoom days where we are issuing electronic permits, we are allowed to have electronic signatures.
Okay.
So, because of all these Zoom meetings, you know, we're not getting together. And so if I have, you know, an electronic signature like I do for everybody else, that I can just copy and plug in on the signature lines, and I'll be all set.
All right, I can do that.
Okay, that would be terrific. Okay, the only other thing I have, I think, on the agenda is the upcoming meeting on March 9th.
Actually,
Oh, Fred,
we have,
Hi,
it says,
hi, Marshall.
yeah, it says DNI applications 36 and 38 Sunset Drive. And I'm guessing, is that why Fred is here or?
It is. I have no idea what that is.
Oh,
It's not your problem, my problem, but our association rules require our members to provide us copies of anything that they send you, and obviously this person does not. So I don't know what they're
I'm
saying.
having trouble hearing.
Oh, okay. Let me jack it up. Is that better, Marshall?
That is better.
Okay. Yeah, now our members are supposed to send us copies of any correspondence with you folks. And obviously this member was not aware of that requirement and has not, so I have no idea what this is about, and I'm curious.
All right. Just to summarize, there are two DNI applications, one for 36, one for 38 Sunset Drive.
Mhm.
One from Randy Burton, which is for the, I guess the I don't want to say total reconstruction, but the retrofitting of an existing retaining wall, which is supposedly in disrepair.
Okay.
And then the second one is from Pat, I forget his last name, Morris, I believe, who wants to do a retaining wall, presumably similar to his neighbor, for, I guess, you know, land preservation and erosion control purposes. So Randy has reached out to me to discuss the matter. I've been in correspondence with Pat. He has sent me multiple photographs. You know, needless to say, all this work, once approved, will be done while the lake is lowered, which doesn't give us a lot of time.
No.
But I guess between us folks, and again, I didn't get a picture from Randy about his existing wall, but if it's a matter of fixing an existing wall, I'm, I guess, less concerned because it's already there. And it's a matter of, making it what it once was. On the other hand, Pat's doesn't have an existing wall. He has a bunch of stones butt up against a sandy beach area. And that's it. And I'm personally, reluctant to approve the placement of a wall, retaining wall, where those existing rocks are located. In other words, it's butt up against the shoreline of the lake. And that to me is certainly not the best and environmentally friendly approach I think one could take.
Yeah, if I might, Marshall, my feeling is on both of these projects, I would.
Hold it closer.
On both of these projects, I would like to. I'd like to see a full NOI and order conditions. I don't think a retaining wall is the stuff of a DNI. Is just my personal opinion.
And what do you think about Randy's, where it's a refurbishment of an existing condition?
Yeah, again, I'm not familiar with the wall or its condition, and then I could almost, if it wasn't for the island, I could probably see it from here. So I can go take a look at it, but I think in general, even repairing, unless it was something minor, but a restoration sounded like a significant restoration of a retaining wall. I think you'd want to at least put conditions on it, and it would seem the best vehicle for putting conditions on that work would be an order of conditions.
So are you saying that you would want both projects to go through the NOI process?
That would be my personal opinion, yes.
Just curious, could they be submitted together if they're adjoining properties? There'd be two owners, but is there anything to prevent one NOI to come under two owners and then?
No.
So that would soften the economic blow, but we would still have those conditions. Sorry about that.
You can't do that.
Oh, you can't have a single NOI for two properties,
No,
two owner, okay.
Yeah, because it has to be recorded on the deed, right? So-
because it's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah, should have known.
the order has to be recorded under a given property. And it has to be a lien against a given property. So
Yeah.
Well, or perhaps if they had done what our rules require them to do and sent me the DNI and approached me, I might feel differently. But I'm a little bit concerned. There's an awful lot of people on the lake who feel very, very strongly about being being as stringent as possible, because we've had some bad experiences, as you're more than familiar with. And so, I would like to give everybody an opportunity to take a look at what they're doing and comment on it.
I'm just thinking back, to other applications we received where the fixing of an existing wall, didn't require the full application because it was already there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now, that's not the case in Pat's, in 38's case. It doesn't exist.
Mhm.
So I'm certainly more open to requiring, a notice of intent for that. Because if he sent me some follow-up photographs, and if I was to, think about a wall, I would certainly move it like way back, to allow the beach, et cetera, to exist. And not put it right up against the shoreline.
Yeah, I think we're in total agreement on the Pat situation there. I think, the association would like to see what I'm sorry, I got to have to turn my volume up so that you, and anytime you guys talk, it blows my ears out. So the microphone and the receiver are not in sync here on my end. I apologize for that. Yeah, no, I did definitely, we would like an opportunity to comment on that one. And as far as the restoration work or repair work or whatever, if somebody from the commission has gone down there and laid eyes on it and is convinced that, nothing to see here, then I'm comfortable with that. But, I would prefer obviously an NOI so I can, provide formal comments, but if you've looked at it and are comfortable that there's nothing really to see there, it's a straightforward thing, then I would accept that.
Randy reached out to me and I haven't responded, but I'm going to ask him to send me some photographs of the existing wall. So that we can see, what the lay of the land is, so to speak.
Mhm.
And we can, I think that perhaps at most, Randy's application might be a request for determination of applicability,
Mhm.
which does not require abutter notifications, but certainly it's advertised and, you will be aware. Whereas the other one, I tend to agree with you. It's a brand new project. It's butt up against the lake. And, again, as I did speak to him and say, it's the retaining walls like that are not something that we're particularly fond of. Because if everybody did it, the lake would be nothing but a big bathtub. Turtles, frogs, blah, 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 they'd come out of the water and they hit the stone retaining wall and back they'd go. So I just, it's not something I would prefer to see.
And it also depends what's going to happen with repair. If repair means replacing a couple of rocks, that's trivial. If repair means ripping out the entire wall, putting in, that's a different ballgame, right? So.
Well, that's a good point too. It could be, pointing, some cement areas that have fallen out, or it could be, as you said, this 20-foot segment needs to be totally reconstructed. So I think, to be fair, not only to us, but to everyone else and to the applicants, that given that the wall exists, that probably an RDA as opposed to an NOI for the 38, where no wall exists, would be an appropriate path to take.
Yeah, I certainly agree with Chris's point that it really depends on the nature of what it is that he's proposing to do. You know, is he going to bring a bobcat down there, start moving stuff around, or is it's just a matter of, you know, boy, these things fell down and I got to put them back.
And I think before I notify Randy of what it is we're thinking of, I will ask those questions.
Great.
You know, is it a mere, you know, facelift, if you will? Or are we talking major surgery?
Right.
So, and then depending on his response, we'll go from there.
Great. Thank you.
But I think the consensus with respect to 38 Sunset is that, you know, we need the full. The full application and abutter notifications, and because it's installation of a wall where no wall exists. And the question is, okay, if you're going to do it, where should it be and what should it look like?
That does seem consistent with other projects we've had, even landscaping projects I've seen, like patio type work. I feel like we've seen NOIs come for.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
to be consistent, that does make sense. A new retaining wall right abutting the water should be under an NOI.
I mean, my primary concern is, you know, retaining some semblance of the beach. I mean, you know, to build the wall right at the shoreline seems contrary to, you know, any kind of ecological sense.
We would have some very strong comments if that's what was proposed.
Yeah. So, I mean, but if it was pushed back beyond the beach area, and it wasn't an intimidating wall, just one of, you know, I understand that. I mean, to me, that would be, depending on how it's designed and put forth, that would be certainly more amenable than what he seems to be proposing at the moment.
I agree.
All right. I will also notify, based on this gathering, 38, and I will request from Randy some additional photographs and then notify him, you know, per our discussion, what it is what path we'd like to go.
Great.
And
That's
And I
my-
wonder if, depending on what kind of wall, if he's just proposing to stack some rocks and it's kind of a field stone wall, then maybe even a new wall might be okay under a determination of applicability. You still have conditions, you still have, you don't have abutter notifications, but at least there would be conditions. So it depends. If the new wall is just going to be a pretty trivial, maybe they.
Yeah, and I don't know that, none of us know the details.
Yeah. So it depends. In each case, it depends what they're going to do.
On Randy's part. So I think we need a little more information before we can set him in the right direction. Okay.
And are they digging out, some kind of footing for it,
Right, right. And so Fred, is the lake drawn down now?
It is, and it's somewhat frozen. I wouldn't go out on it, but
But it's
But yeah, it won't be raised back up until the ice is completely.
It's scheduled to be brought up to lake level, so to speak, in the first week of April?
If ice conditions permit, yes.
Okay. All right, well, permits are
Yeah,
good for,
right, we can't, I don't think we raise it up if it's still frozen because that'll just send a whole bunch of
Well,
icebergs flying around, yeah.
permits are good for 3 years. Doesn't mean it has to happen now.
Yeah, I mean, if.
I mean,
it's-
everybody wants it yesterday.
Yeah, it's not the commission's fault. They should definitely allow sufficient time for review. I mean, that's on the applicant as far as I'm concerned.
All right, I think I have a good understanding of where we're headed there, and I will notify the parties appropriately. So thank you, Fred. Appreciate your input, as
Yeah.
always.
Thank you again, and Catherine, nice to meet you, and nice to see the rest of you, and look forward to seeing how this all turns out.
Thanks again, Fred. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yep.
Bye
Take
now.
care. All right, folks. We have the meeting minutes of, or did we already do that?
Approve those.
Awesome. Again, Chris, Kristen, I understand you won't be available March 9th.
Yeah, I have a work presentation, so I can't do March 9th.
Okay. So Chris, you lucky guy. That leaves you to attend the meeting on March 9th at 2:30.
Yeah, I'll go and like I said, if you think of something more I should relay to the DEP person, I can do that. Otherwise, I don't know enough about the project. I will look in the next 9 days. I'll learn a little more, but I'm there. I'm just going to go to listen and see how they interact, and see what their objections are, and et cetera.
Well, it's a difficult situation, but what is in front of DEP is exactly what we know. In other words, we approved something with conditions that I thought were like pretty darn thorough, because I had a feeling something like this may happen. And it
So
was
does DEP have like a copy of Paul's report that he did, and or will he be going over that when on the day of the site visit?
yeah, I mean, Paul did multiple analyses in response to Mr. Ivanchik's comments, and modified the plan a couple of times to reinforce the stormwater management aspects of the development. I think all of that is fortunately that's just a technical issue. Is it sufficient to control the stormwater runoff? But Mr. Ivanchik has raised the other issue of legality of discharging stormwater from 162 via a pipe under Mr. Johnson, his neighbor's driveway and then via a pipe under Mr. Vanchik's driveway. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I suspect an answer, but I don't know. There are
Marshall, I can't hear you. Are you?
no, I'm sorry. There are
Oh,
there are there's a lot of case law regarding runoff from one person's property to another, and somehow you are allotted some degree of water flows downhill, and if you're uphill, then you're somehow not liable for water doing what it does best. But as far as the legality of actually funneling water through a pipe under someone else's driveway, I don't know. Now, could the applicant in this case say, screw it, I'm not going to do any stormwater management. I'm just going to let the lay of the land, for all I know, he may be better off. Because of the state statutes that allow for runoff. But this is something DEP has to decide. And quite honestly, I would have brought this up, I think, at the meeting, or at least at some point, is that, when Jeff Ivanchik proposed the same darn thing, and we approved it, he was putting water from 162 Ashby Road under Ned Johnson, Mr. Johnson's driveway, and under his driveway. Somehow that was okay. Now it's not okay. Because obviously, even though he owned the property 162 at the time that he proposed the development of that property, at some point that property was going to be owned by somebody else, and somebody else then would have had their runoff go under their neighbor's property and under the Vanchik driveway. So I don't understand the difference. Why was it okay then and not okay now? And all of that may be totally irrelevant to DEP. I don't know. But I mean, if you go back and you look at Hannigan Engineering, who did the work for Vanchik several years ago, back when we had that big blowout of erosion several years ago. I mean, Vanchik proposed, I think, even less of a stormwater management control for 162 Ashby Road. And the runoff from 162 was going to go under his neighbor's driveway and under Vanchik's driveway. And now all of it, which, was okay then, now all of a sudden, excuse me, do you have a drainage easement? It just seems bizarre. Like it's okay for me and not okay for you.
Yeah.
However, I don't know whether DEP will consider any of that, past activity. or not. So I guess the best thing to do is just, you're the commission, you looked at the facts. We issued a permit based on the submittal, and we're comfortable with what we did.
Mhm.
And if there are, other issues, then hey, so be it. Not our issue. I mean, I'm again, I need to belabor this, but I'm comfortable with the order that we issued. And so, I don't know what else to tell you, but that's, that's about all you can say. I mean, it's DEP's game.
Yep.
Chris or Kristen, do you know how to, or have, how to get DEP file numbers by NOI lookup page?
No,
Okay, I will send you the link so that, prior to the next meeting, which I won't be at, you can check that out and see if DEP has issued a file number for Al's 38 Lower Lake Road project.
okay.
Um,
So I think that's actually a good segue to something I was gonna bring up was with your sad departure in June, have we, or has anyone started talking about like a transition plan of any kind, or I don't know. I don't know how this all works.
Have a nice day. Yeah, Brian, our town administrator, is about to issue an ad for a planner conservation agent.
Mhm.
I will admit I'm frustrated that it's taken as long as it has. I don't understand it. This was the private sector. It would have been done, months ago. I'm just not used to this kind of bureaucracy. But
Well, I work for a nonprofit. I'm used to it, but it is frustrating.
well, I'm not, and it's terribly frustrating. It's like, well, we got to like the wording just right. No, you don't. Just throw it out there. People will respond no matter what. So, because I keep telling them that the sooner we get applicants in place, the better, because the more we will have time to bring the selected party up to snuff with, where we are and what we're doing. And so,
Well,
but
I have some thoughts about what, I don't know, how I think we should be having them work. Like, I think they should come to the meetings. I
yes,
know Rich didn't do that, and that's fine, but
actually, that is going to be a requirement.
yay.
Yeah, no. So that, you folks shouldn't have to be doing minutes. It's not a, I mean, it's certainly not going to get rich being a conservation agent or a town planner, but, I think that the salary is reasonable and, for Ashburnham. And, but it does involve going to these meetings. So to take the weight off of, everybody. I just wish it would happen sooner than later. But anyway, I think there are people out there locally that would be interested. And we'll just have to see. But I mean, I'm thinking, maybe depending on how things go, I may want to remain as an alternate on the commission, which would give me non-voting privileges, but it would at least give me a connection. As far as the bylaw review committee and marijuana, the open space, I think is going to be dissolved pretty soon. Chris, just so you know, today I sent the draft open space and recreation plan to Melissa Cryan at the Division of Conservation Services.
Will the select board be okay that it went, even though it's just the draft?
If you look at the handbook, it's encouraged that while the locals fathers are reviewing it, it's best to submit it to the state so that when comments come in, they're all coming in at the
I'll come
same.
at once. Okay, good. As long as that's
You don't get a delay between whatever. So,
Yeah.
however, the letters of support do need to be included in the final draft.
Yeah.
That's submitted to the state.
Back to Kristen's point for a second, I actually don't mind doing minutes at the meetings. I'm worried about having enough expertise in the room when Marshall isn't here. Just simple questions, from stormwater management, regulate, data to even I asked a question today whether two separate applicants could apply for the same NOI. Like in hindsight, that was a stupid question, but there's a lot of stuff to know. And if they hire somebody who's primarily a planner, if we've had a 16-hour a week conservation agent for the last decade, I just worry about just having a lack of expertise in the room, after whether or not the person's at the meetings, that are we going to know the answers to things we need, we'll see.
Well, the ad was originally a conservation agent / planner.
Right.
The town administrator, in his wisdom, has changed it to a planner / conservation agent, thinking for whatever reason that, we'd get more responses. Personally, I don't think that's true. I think you're more apt to get more respondents where the emphasis on a conservation agent, but whatever. He's trying to fill a couple of different shoes, and we'll just have to see what comes in. But
So who is part of the interview committee for this position? Is it just him, or is it other people, like AKA us or some of us, or how is that?
There is. There's going to be a review committee once the applications are in, and it can be you, whomever.
Okay.
Haven't gotten that far yet, but I think you're certainly entitled. I mean, it could be Sarah, Heather, you folks.
And even if you don't want to have 10 people with official, type of trying to all pick this apart, but if each, like, let's say the top 3 candidates, when they come if they just had a meeting with, one meeting with the Conservation Commission, Planning Board,
Yeah.
just so we
Yeah.
can kind of meet the person and have some input, at least take our comments. I don't have to be a voting, vote on, but
Yeah,
that
Yeah.
would be a smart process to go to do.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, all of that's to be worked out, but I just, once again, I just hope it happens soon.
Yeah, because this is dragging.
Don't understand the delay, but um, so again, I mean, the only other thing, besides getting the open space plan approved, is trying to get the wetlands and watershed protection district eliminated at the next town meeting. We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
So that's where we are. Hopefully, you will not have to bear the burden with an agent planner on board. That's the whole reason why I've pushed for it, and fortunately, the town has been supportive. Because I mean, it's things like the DNIs that cross my desk every day. And the other questions, like the other one is, well, I don't understand. Do you want full-size plans? You want half-size plans? What are half-size plans? Well, yeah, they're half the size of the other plans. It's wacky stuff, and hopefully, you won't have to put up with that kind of stuff if we have a bona fide 40-hour a week person to deal with that. But after 14 and a half years, and Chris has been there longer, so, but it's time for me to move on. All right. You don't have to put all of that in the minutes,
I didn't.
Good.
You'll see it's very short on that.
Good. All righty. So I don't know about the next meeting, whether it's a Zoom or whether they will want it in person. You can request it to be in Zoom, which I would do, and hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm happy either way. It's convenient in the winter time to just be home.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
And I
Who
think
did we make that request to?
I'll tell you, before I go, I can make the request to Mary.
Okay.
That, the next meeting is scheduled for blah, and, we'd like to have a Zoom meeting established. I mean, right now, the only thing on the agenda is Al Boehner, 38 Lower, and meeting minutes.
Good.
But we'll see. So I can do that, and then I'll ask Mary in my absence to distribute it to all of you, whatever response she comes up with.
Good.
That's it.
Adjourned 7:43.
Awesome. All right, folks. I'll be back on the, I don't know, 18th, 19th, 20th, somewhere thereabouts.
Yeah, have a good trip.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right.
Bye.
Okay,
Off
we're
to
done.
dinner. Good night, everybody.
We did make motions, right?
Sure.
You know, we waived.
And I
hands.
seconded it.
Yeah, I figured as much. All right, folks. We'll see you then. Okay, take care. Yeah.